everyone, this is Anam Chahar. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be explaining the poem A Photograph along with all the poetic devices. The poem has been taken from the book Hornbill of Class 11 and is written by Shirley Towson, who was an English poet. Let's begin. The poem A Photograph shows how time takes its toll on life. In this poem, the poet is looking at a photograph of her mother when she was 12 years old. When her mother was 12 years old. And now her mother is dead. She is no more alive, so she's just looking at her picture and she's missing her mother terribly. So it's a tribute to her mother. This poem, it's a tribute to the poet's mother. We try to capture some moments which remain as pictures. So in this poem, we understand that time never stops. It never stops for anyone. It keeps on moving forward. And as the time passes, we try to capture some moments which remain as pictures, which remain as photographs. Past memories keep flashing back into our mind when we look at these photographs years later. But we can only recall those moments. We cannot go back into the past, and those people that we have lost, the people who have died, they do not come back. So on this note, let's begin the poem. Stanza 1. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went peddling. Peddling means to move a boat by means of paddles. You must have seen that kind of boat. And it also means walking bare feet in shallow water. The cardboard. Cardboard means the frame, the photo frame. Like I said, the poet is looking at an old picture of her mother. The cardboard shows me how it was, means how it was in the past when the two girl cousins went peddling. When her mother went on a sea holiday, she went for a holiday on a beach along with her two girl cousins, each one holding one of my mother's hands. All of them, they are holding each other's hands. Poet's mother is standing in the middle and her cousins, they are holding her hands. And she, the big girl. Who is the big girl? The poet's mother. The poet's mother is the eldest among all the three girls, some 12 years or so. Now, at that time, although the poet's mother, she's the eldest one, but she's only 12 years old. All three stood still to smile through their hair. So their hair are moving with the wind, and all three of them, they are holding each other's hands and they are standing still and they are smiling at the uncle with the camera. Their uncle is clicking their picture and the three girls are standing still and they are smiling at their uncle. A sweet face, my mother's. That was before I was born. Now, the poet is looking at her mother's face, her mother's sweet face, and she's saying that that was my mother before I was born. So obviously at that time when this picture was clicked, the poet's mother was only 12 years old and obviously the poet wasn't born at that time. So it's a very, very old picture. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. It's an important line. And the sea, which appears to have changed less. So far, the poet was talking about the three girls, her mother and her two cousins. But now she is talking about the sea. What is the background of that picture? What's in the background? The sea, right? The sea is visible in the photograph. And the poet says that the sea appears to have changed less. Human beings have changed. The three girls in the picture, they have changed. They have grown up and the poet's mother, she is dead now. She's not even alive. But the sea has not changed. It appears to have changed less. It means that the objects of nature, they do not change. They are everlasting, and human life is very short. The sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Transient means which lasts for a very short time, which lasts for a very short duration. Their footprints, the girls are walking on the sand, so their footprints, the impressions of their feet, are washed by the sea waves, by the waves of water, right? So they remain on the sand for a very short duration. They are washed away by the tides, by the waves. So this line is symbolic. As their footprints are washed by the waves of water, similarly, human lives are washed away by the tide of time. With time, when time takes its toll on human life, it washes it away, means people die. Some 20, 30 years later, she'd laugh at the snapshot. Who is she? She is the poet's mother. Some 20, 30 years later. So the picture was clicked when the poet's mother was only 12 years old. When after 20, 30 years later, when she looked at the photograph, she laughed at the picture. See Betty and Dolly, she'd say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. So when she was looking at her own picture of her childhood, the picture of her childhood, she got all excited and she told her daughter that, see Betty and Dolly, see my cousins, and see how they dressed us for the beach, how our parents dressed us for the beach. So she was reliving her past memories when she looked at her picture. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Important line. The sea holiday was her past. Whose past? The poet's mother's past. Mine is her laughter. The sea holiday was her mother's past because her mother is now dead. She is not that 12 years old girl anymore. She is now dead. Mine is her laughter. Why her mother's laughter is the poet's past? Because, like I said, her mother is now dead. She cannot see her mother laughing. She cannot see her mother smiling. So the sea holiday was her mother's past, and her laughter, her mother's laughter, is the poet's past. Both rye with the labored ease of loss. Rye means an ironic laugh, an ironic smile, mocking. Both rye with the labored ease of loss. So both the women, the poet and her mother, both of them have lost something. Poet's mother lost her childhood, her youth, and eventually she lost her life. She is now dead. The poet has lost her mother. So both tried to adjust with this loss. They tried their best to adjust with this situation. And finally, the poet, she was able to accept this loss, but it did not happen easily. Labored ease of loss, the acceptance. This ease, this acceptance came after a lot of pain, after a lot of labor. Now, she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. That girl means the poet's mother in the photograph. And how old was poet's mother when this picture was clicked? She was 12 years old. So read this line again. Now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. So from this line we understand that the poet's mother has been dead for 12 years, because she's saying that she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. The picture in the girl in the photograph was 12 years old. So we understand that her mother has been dead for 12 years. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. Of this situation, the poet has nothing to say, because her mother's death is too big a loss for her to express. She cannot express this pain in words. So she says that of this situation, there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. Its silence means silence of death seems to silence everything else, and only silence prevails. So this shows that the poet is missing her dead mother badly, and that's why through this poem she's giving a tribute to her. So that's about the poem. Let's discuss the poetic devices now. Before that, let's talk about the central idea. So change is the harsh and bitter reality of life. After reading this poem, we understand that change is the only constant. We cannot control death. Death is inevitable. And it takes us time to, it takes a lot of time to accept such things, to accept the death of a loved one, but we cannot do anything in such situations. We have no option but to accept the reality. We also understand that human life is too short in comparison to the objects of nature. Nature is everlasting, but human life is very short. Let's discuss the poetic devices now. We'll discuss stanza wise. Stanza 1. As you can see on the right hand side of your screen, stanza is given paragraph, and on the left hand side, poetic devices are written. So first one is alliteration. What is alliteration? Repetition of a consonant sound in close connection is called alliteration. See the bold underlined words. Stood still to smile. Stood still, smile. Sir sound is repeated here, so it's called alliteration. My mother's, that was before I was born. My mother's. Mer sound is repeated here. Again, this is an example of alliteration. In the last line, washed their terribly transient feet. Terribly transient. Ter sound is repeated here, which is again a consonant sound. So all these are examples of alliteration. Next is enjambment. Enjambment means when there is an absence of punctuation mark at the end of a line, but the same idea continues to the next line. As you can see, after first, fourth and fifth line, there is no punctuation mark. So we can say that enjambment has been used here. Stanza 2. Oxymoron. What is oxymoron? When contradictory terms are used, it is called oxymoron. It is also called contradiction. See the underlined words, with the labored ease of loss. Labored ease. Both the terms are contradictory. These words are contradictory. They are contradicting each other. Labored ease. If something is easy, then how can it be, difficult? And if it's difficult, it cannot be easy. So it is contradiction. Next again is enjambment. As you can see, after first, second, third, fourth, fifth line, there is no punctuation mark. So enjambment has been used here. Third paragraph, alliteration. It's silence silences. Silence. Sir sound is repeated here, which is a consonant sound. So it's an example of alliteration. Again, enjambment. There is no punctuation mark after first and second line. So it's enjambment. That's all about it. If you liked the video, if you understood the poem, then please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon, and you can also leave comments. Thank you.